So a very common question that winemakers get is, how did you get into the winemaking business? So what I like to say is that I got here by pulling corks, which is kind of a smart alecky way of saying that I come at it from the consumer side. So I had no intention of being a winemaker. I grew up in Walla Walla in a farm family, and wine was not part of my upbringing. I went to college, got a degree in agronomy, and I was working in Northern California, uh, advising farmers, grape farmers. And one night I was at a little cafe in Napa, and one of my customers poured me a little taste of wine. And I took the sip of it just really to be courteous more than anything. But it was a life changing experience. I had no idea that anything could be that wonderful. And it's burned into my memory as a significant emotion. Uh, Believe it or not, similar to when I first saw my future wife, or uh, when I saw my kids being born. So probably since that night, I've had wine almost every day, and I've always been in search of the perfect glass of Cabernet Sauvignon. Anyway, so we were in California for 7 years, and then we moved back to Walla Walla to raise our family. And naturally, I got involved in farming grapes and advising people on their grapes. And so before long, I had 30 acres of grapes to take care of, and I was working with dozens of different winemakers. And part of that process is you, in the wintertime, you go into the winery and taste through the different barrels, and you talk about what happened in the vineyard and how that affected the wine quality. So you get a really good exposure to a lot of different views of how to make wine. And there are a couple winemakers that I work with who could somehow capture the essence of the vineyard. And I mean, you taste it in the barrel, and you'd say, "Oh, I remember that day how those grapes tasted." So that's kind of always been my goal as a winemaker. Um, but later, the way I got started into it was as a hobby. Um, Debbie, my wife, and I one year bought 100 pounds of Merlot, and we destemmed it on our dining room floor on a tarp, and we made it in a plastic pail. It actually was a garbage can, and it was really good wine. And so we made wine again the next year and the year after that, and then my fourth year of making hobby wine, I knew it was something I was going to pursue professionally. And so I got 10 friends together, and we all pitched in, and we made 10 barrels of wine. And that was actually one of the funnest years I had, um, to have that experience with the friends. Uh, so to train myself, besides what I was able to get from the local winemakers, I took all the correspondence courses that I could from UC Davis. There was a few in Washington at that time that I could take. And then one of my buddies from the hobby wine days, Doug Harvey, in 2003, agreed to start a winery with me. And that's how I got going. That's my story. Thanks.